Hello, and welcome back to Intimate Wisdom. And today we've got Nyla Gray back. Now, Nyla and I got together with. By the way, you're with your friend Sharon here. So Nyla and I did an interview together mid-June, and this sequel to her first talk has been delayed quite a bit, hasn't it? Yeah, we've all been. Well, you moved, or you'd only just moved, hadn't you? And then we've been away.
That's right. Yeah,
we went away, and now we're house sitting in Opanaki. And so Nyla came today for lunch, and we decided let's just do this second interview. And Nyla wants to talk about energies, entities, attachments, which is a great subject. I love this subject. So anyway, Nyla, welcome back to Intimate Wisdom.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah. So we've had a delightful day, and so we're going to spend
lunch.
Yummy lunch. Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah. So tell us now. We're just going to do a recap on your previous talk. You talked about the trip in Australia. No, not your trip, how you lived over there and what you did. So if people were to go back on this channel, Awakenings with Sharon and Franz, you'll be able to see the first interview. But anyway, and we did touch on entities, didn't we, back then, in that talk, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I'm not too,
yeah. I'm not too sure. I can't remember.
No, I don't think we did.
No.
I don't think,
Okay.
Yeah. So that all kind of the attachments kind of I felt a lot more like here when I was back in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much travelling, but didn't realise that when I was actually renting places, they were actually for me to go in and clear them.
Right.
Yeah, was to clear the entities from them.
Mm-hmm.
And the probably the hardest experience for me was when my nephew passed away, and we had his service in the club rooms, and not realising that substance that we take actually puts holes in our auric field. You go to a bar and just think, I'm just going to go for a few drinks, and then you wake up the next morning and think, I'm never going to drink again, because you've just got. But that's all because spirits that are still, who are regular, like in the bars, are still hovering, so then they'll just latch on to someone that's drinking, and next minute you're drinking quite a bit. But this experience was, I didn't really kind of know until things were kind of happening, and I never get sick, and I got sick, and just how my partner was treating me, and I was talking to friends, and it was like I was looking at their eyes were dark, they were black, and just even some of their behaviour, so I was feeling really isolated from people. And so I went and spoke to a friend, and so I wanted her to come in and do a clearing where I thought I could have done it, but I was just feeling quite weak, and even just where my mindset was. And so she come to the house. I was actually up in New Plymouth at belly dancing, and she actually came into the house and said no, it was something to do with me. So she wanted to see me, so I went around and seen her, and then I was kind of greeted by, you don't scare me, or you don't even scare me, or something. I'm going, oh, what have I done? She goes, no, he's standing next to you with his head in his hand. So she said, no, come in and I'll explain.
With his head in his hand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And anyway, but there was 17 entities attached to me in this particular time, and it was quite horrific. Even before I went to her, I was coming back from New Plymouth from belly dancing, and I came to Wirramoos, and there was a truck that was driving quite slow, and this is at 10:30 at night, so I went to overtake him, and then next minute I had a little MG, and it's like the truck put its foot down, and it was driving the same speed as me, and I'm thinking, shit, there's a corner up here and I've got to get around. I'm thinking, what the hell is he doing? So I just had to really put my foot down and go around the corner, and he just tailgated me the whole time, and the truck was going side to side, trying to high beam me in the side mirrors. And then I had to kind of turn my mirror, you know, your mirror you have in the middle of the car, I had to turn that because it was just high beaming me. And so I was driving, but also like having a panic attack because I thought, shit, I can't even turn off the road because it'll flip my car. And because I thought, oh, maybe this is just like spirit, because I've experienced that before where I've kind of looked in my car, and this is during the day, and someone's been in a truck and driving like this, and then I've looked up again and it's gone. So I've been seeing spirit, and obviously there's been no roads where they could turn off. So so I thought maybe it's just that, but I just had to, but it was just, and then there was a tanker coming the other way. There was quite a few tankers that used that route, and he was dipping his light. So I thought, no, this is obviously...
This is a physical being.
This is, It's
not a spirit.
And not realising that these entities were jumping. So the guy, obviously, who was in the truck was obviously drunk. So that's how this thing could come in, these entities, So, so by the time I'd kind of got home, I was even too scared to kind of, because I lived on a rural road at the time, and I was even too scared to get out of my vehicle because I thought, shit, I'm not going to have time to get into the house. You know, so I was just really like panicking. And then just before the Aurora Road, I look up and the vehicle's gone. So I didn't even know kind of when it actually left because I just didn't want to. I was just driving, and
because you're focused on getting home safely.
And it was like, so when I actually spoke to this lady and went and seen her, so she explained to me that there was the main guy. He was actually like gang related. So he wasn't in any particular gang, but he played the gangs against one another. And he was assassinated in 98. And then there was like 16 others. So by the time she'd kind of cleared, you know, she got down to, I think it was about the 9th one, and they were all wanting my forgiveness because they were obviously coaxed in by this horrible person, and he obviously still was when he was on the other side, and that's how he was assassinated. He was obviously
decapitated.
And so,
right.
And because I said to her, I said, well, why did they want me? And because I said, well, look at her, you know, so probably because it was so much light. But yeah, they were trying to take me over the other side. Yeah, so it was quite, but it took a lot to kind of get over that, because it was like I'd see a car, I'd be driving at night and a car would come up fast behind me and I'd have to pull over, and I'd be just like panicking because I'm thinking, is this them again? Is it? You know, so it was really, that was probably the worst experience that I've actually had with, like, to have 17, but like she said, you know, just realise how powerful you are. There were 17 of them. They had to go through other people, you know, which they did. I mean, it was quite horrible just talking to friends, and then all of a sudden their eyes are black, you know, and their behaviour towards me, which at the time I didn't realise that it was them and not, you know, not
it's
my
interesting.
friends. So it's quite and people don't realise actually what's out there, because there's probably just the same amount as probably humans working on this plane as what there is as entities, you know, still people that haven't passed over. And
so for our listeners, an entity is a soul that hasn't passed over and remains earthbound, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're good ones. There are some bad ones too, especially with what Nyla was talking about earlier on, being in the pubs. They're lurking everywhere, and they're just waiting for someone to either have a smoke or have a few too many drinks.
Well, they need a vessel to kind of come through on and latch, and although that was kind of like at a club rooms, so and you know, the thing is, and the experience there, which was like my daughter and I, we tried to look up on the internet to find out who he was, or even just see a picture of him. And there was actually 7 that same year that was assassinated, and that was all down in Palmerston.
Wow.
And so,
and this was all related to to gang groups. Gang violence.
Yeah. These were not gang violence. I suppose they were in, like biker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, not that kind of gang, but
yeah. So this guy used to play them all against. So he was connected to them all.
Right.
But he played them against one another, and obviously they decided to take him out. And it was like I was telling a friend about it, and she'd actually met, because her husband's quite big and tall, and they were kind of visiting their sister-in-law in Tauranga, and this guy showed up at their place before he was thing, and she said like even her husband was scared of him, and then at the time when we went out for lunch, and Franz was on duty when that all happened, and he was saying that how everyone celebrated in the prisons when he was taken out.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
So
Yes, when he was working in the prison service.
Yeah, and everyone was celebrating that because he was obviously hated by quite a few people, or what he used to do, I suppose. But he was about 7 foot. The guy was quite big. But he had all these other ones that obviously ones that had passed away in gangs as well, and probably just lured them all with him in. Tried to. So it was quite sad, when they were wanting my forgiveness, and
It's interesting because going back into the times of when we used to all go to the pub and have our skinful. I remember a time when I got a phone call from a lady. She said, "Oh, my friend's just come home." She'd come home about 5 a.m. in the morning, and she was paralytically drunk. But I could hear her screaming. I could hear the woman screaming, and I could hear thumping. And I said to the lady, the caller, I said, "What's going on?" She said, "I don't know," but she said, "Something has got a hold of her. I can't see it, but it's throwing her from the one side of the passageway to the other." And she's actually mid-air and being thrown, and she's black and blue, and she's bleeding. And she said, "Oh, can you come and help me?" And this is kind of like 8 o'clock in the morning. So in my car, off I go. I took my friend. I took my friend Dan with me, and it was an alcoholic priest. It was an alcoholic. So she'd gone to the pub, got herself drunk. The alcoholic priest, because she was when you're drunk, you're quite vulnerable. You're not protected. So this dead alcoholic priest hooked into her violent, and when she got home, that's when he started attacking her. So because when we showed up, it was like, oh my God, it was just like, it's freaked me out actually. Because here she is, this poor woman, you could see how he was holding her underneath her, and she's like this, and she's like frozen, rooted in fear. And I just said, "Oh, let her go," and just off.
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah, and it's like, boom, she was on the floor, but then we did our karakia, and we did our clear. I had white sage and everything. Well, we got rid of him.
Yeah. No, it doesn't take much because it's only fear that kind of holds it. It strengthens them. It's like when there's entities in a house. And I always say to people, when you move into a place, always cleanse it. Put your own, but anything, and just clear the place before you move in, or even the people that live there before, all the energies are there. Even buying second-hand furniture, you should always cleanse it. Because if everything's got an energy and it affects the people that take that on, and even people, in the physical form, you've kind of got to, there was one guy that was quite well known, he was actually a kaumata, and he was quite, and obviously used that as his way of kind of like learn his way into things.
Used his title or his
and because I'd
position.
And because I had an experience with him, and I was kind of giving him to, by a good source, that because my brother was going through stuff, he was flaking out, and all he would see was a Māori cloak but no head, and they did x-rays and stuff on him. He'd just flake out on the golf course and stuff, and they couldn't find anything wrong. And so I actually spoke to a certain person, and then they put me on to this guy. And so he was supposed to come down to Hawa, and didn't show up till like 8 o'clock at night, which I ended up doing the healing myself on my brother. And I wasn't picking up really nice stuff from him. And then it was like he left, and then he rang me up a couple of days later, and he goes, don't think about getting that dog that you plan on getting. And I'm thinking, what? And he said, you're thinking about getting a dog? And I'm thinking, oh my God, is he actually travelling to my house? Is he actually travelling, or he's stalking me, you know? And then he's kind of said, whose was that car outside your place? You know, and I'm thinking, something's not right here.
Interesting.
And anyway, he kind of showed up about a week later, you know, and just kind of like dressed really sloppy and stuff. And he says, I need to do a clearing on your house. I said, no, my place is fine. I can do it myself, it's fine, but I don't know what you're doing here. And I said, I really want you to go. And then one of the ladies I used to belly dance with, and she was showing us some photos, and he was in it. And I said, I'm going to come outside and I just want to talk to you about something. And I said, where do you know this guy from? And she said, she was doing like a lot of medicines and Mary medicines and stuff, and he was doing the, I don't know, they obviously got him in to do things. And I said, well, just be wary of him, because I said, the experience I've had with him hasn't been really nice. So, and I said, I don't really like his energies. And anyway, so she said, it's kind of funny you say that, because she said, he was giving me a hug, and he said, then all of a sudden I felt really sick in the stomach. And I said, well, maybe you need to have a clearing or something. And she was going over to Rotorua the following weekend to do some more training, so she'll get them to check. So when I met up with her the following Thursday, and she goes, thank me for it. And they pulled all these black worms, and that's where they'd come from. So when he'd given her a hug, all these black yucky worms went into her.
These negative imprints.
Yeah. So obviously that's what he was about. That was his dark thing, but betrayed this other person, you know. I mean, he'd be in the front page of the paper, and I'm thinking, whoa, people don't know. So I went and seen the lady that put me on to him, and when I said to her, because she had a crystal shop and stuff, she said, oh God, I'm getting goosebumps. She said, no, I'll take it down straight away. But I said, the sad thing about it, I said, how many people have you put him onto? How many people have you sent him to their places and stuff? I said, that's the thing, you know. It's like she took a car down, that's all she could probably do, I suppose. But it was like, he wasn't a very nice person.
Well, you know, it's interesting too, Nyla, because people who work in these, you know, who are well known, can be quite charismatic and really convincing. And so thereby,
it's the masks.
It's the masks. And so people trust that because we're so distracted, we're not really listening to our intuition. We're not listening, or our feelings of what, you know, what is going on outside of ourselves. And this is huge for some people now. And people are really starting to wake up to that. Yeah. I remember once, I'll have to tell you a story about a Māori gentleman. You might even recall this, and some of you that are listening may recall this too, but a few years ago, we're looking back in early 2000, might have even just been before that, there was a Māori gentleman that electrocuted himself accidentally in a spa pool in Motoroa. And he was related to, he was associated with a gang. Anyway, he accidentally electrocuted himself. So what he did was, the neighbour, he would go and so he dies and his spirit's left behind, but he goes over to the neighbour's place and he's terrorising the neighbour. So I get this phone call. I took Dan with me, my friend. We're still great friends, and we did all this. We went to her house because at that time I was single, and Dan was just a really neat mate. We were just connected. We were healers and went around clearing people's houses. So we get in there, and there he is standing in the corner of her living room, and it's like, oh, so we had this corridor, and she was holding. It was interesting. Oh, this kind of freaked me out a little bit, but not. She was holding her greenstone and it snapped. Boom. Just like that. So, and I said, where did you get that from? She said, oh, I can't remember the guy's name. Tony, I think it might have been. Anyway, she said, oh, Tony gave it to me. I said, well, there's been a so now you're disconnected. So you need to go now. Bury that and back to give it back to Mother Earth. Oh, she's like, I can't glue it, and I went, no, you don't glue Ponamu back together.
Well, anything really,
not anything. No, so I said it needs to go back to Mother Earth. So anyway, so we cleared him, and he was so sorry that he was frightening her. He didn't mean to. He just wanted to tell her how much he loved her and that he was planning on getting out of the gang because he wanted a relationship with her. How amazing is that?
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was so sad that he wanted to change his life. But he just did some dumb stuff, and he did something dumb in the pool and boom, died. Just straight away. And sometimes when a person does die very quickly, the spirit doesn't go over to the other side. They remain, and so that's why so many people get attached. Or they attach themselves to unsuspecting hosts. Wow. Oh, we've had some remarkable experiences with spirits over the last few years.
Well, probably all our lives, really, but not being aware of it.
But not being aware of it, But it's those who don't know how to clear something like this. How do they do that? If we want to educate people about how to clear an entity from their person or their home, what's the best method, Nyla?
The best method would be to just never fear it. You just don't fear it because that just makes it stronger, especially if it's, and you can kind of feel it too. I mean, sometimes, when you can be in a house and you can smell, it's like an old man's smell, like you'll go into a lounge room and you know that some part there that there used to be an elderly person that used to sit in a chair somewhere in that room. You can smell it, and so you can always just ask, say that, I'm the caretaker of the home at the moment, you can come in and cleanse with sage and just clear it. But that's why it's kind of good to do that when you walk into a place anyway, because they need to move on. So it's just to come in and sage the place and do that for 3 days in a row and just walk through the house and have your cupboards open, but just even before you actually move everything in, and it's kind of good to just do that, like how we do spring cleans, and it's kind of good to do that, maybe every 6 months, just do a cleansing in your space, because you're actually, because you're out and about and you're bringing other energies into your place anyway. You could talk to a friend and they're going through something rough, and then you take on that energy and you're bringing that energy in your place. So,
and also their visitors too. I've got visitors coming into their home and they're possibly carrying something too, and they think, oh yeah, I think I'm going to stay here. So they disconnect from their host and stay at the house.
So you should always cleanse, and I find I always have a cleansing stick in my car. So, I try, and I like to, not try before I go somewhere. It's like I went to a sound session last night, and they probably thought, is that a Cheech and Chong cake? Because I lit it up and my whole car was just full of smoke. They probably just seen smoke. So I kind of did that before I went in, and then when I come out, before I go into my own place, I'll do that again, So
you do your clearing before an event and then after. Okay.
Yeah. Right. And so I'm not kind of taking anything home with me as well, so I try and do it and make sure that it's in my car, that I can see it and think, I must do that. And
and so do you carry, is it a Palo Santo?
Oh,
Palo Santo. Yes, I got gifted one back in
Just keep one in your car.
Yeah.
You just have it in your car and
just light it and just do the smoke.
And sometimes when you're going somewhere, just do it. You know.
Right. I need to do that before I go to the supermarket. I get in there and then I get out of the supermarket, then I start...
Well, even after too.
Afterwards. Because you collect... Oh, my gosh. I think after being in a supermarket, that's when I feel cranky, tired and overwhelmed sometimes.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you go into especially the likes of pack and save, and I mean, it's quite frustrating in there anyway.
Yeah.
And because everyone's, like... scattered, everyone's going all directions, not the like being on a conveyor belt, so people are trying to move through trolleys and even just the waiting, it's like on Tuesday, because the guy that I look after, he likes going there for a cup of coffee, so I'll shoot in and grab like maybe a bottle of cream that I might need and stuff. But I mean, it was school holidays and like it was really torrential rain and weather out there. It was like everyone was out, so it was full of kids.
Oh yeah,
it was chocker
and noise, lots of noise. Because that's another pollution, isn't it? Noise.
Yeah. So it's pointless them having any music on because you wouldn't be able to hear it. But so just anywhere really, just anywhere you go, you should always just do a cleanse before you go in and one after. Yeah.
And white sage, is that?
Yeah, that in your house.
Yep, that in the house.
But you can also use, I found when I had to do a clearing on my place from one of my relationships, and he kind of left a lot of stuff in there, so I ended up getting, because I couldn't get hold of any white sage, so I just went and bought the green sage from the supermarket, and it's only 99 cents a packet.
Yep.
And so I had a wrought iron fry pan, so I just heated the frying pan up, and then I just
did you hear that, folks?
I just put the green sage in there, and I just went through. Make sure you put a tea towel around your handle, and then just went right around the house. I was going to do it for 7 days. I'd finished the 3rd day, and then my ex came around. He used to kind of just walk in the house if he still lived there, just to see how many cups he wear and, and stuff. And it was like he'd came through so you come in the gate, and then you go through another gate, and then you come into the double doors. And he got to the door, and the door was open, and it was like someone was standing there, like he was probably about maybe 6'4", and so it was someone bigger than him. So it was standing there, but it was like he got to the door, and then next minute he's flying back up against the gate. So if the gate wasn't there, he would have gone straight out into the driveway. So he was like trying to keep his balance, but it was like someone just went to him. And then he comes back and goes, "What's that smell?" And I said, "I'm just burning an incense." And then kind of after that, I wouldn't even have my gates locked, and he'd be at the gate trying to get in. He said, "I can't get in." So I said, "The gate's unlocked." So
so your guides were taking care of you and your home.
Yeah.
And taking care of him too.
Yeah. And just, the gates were never locked, but he just couldn't get past that. Yeah.
That's interesting, because a few years ago, when I had my little fairy shop, a woman came in and she introduced herself, and then she started coughing. She just like this cough, and so she stepped back from me, and then she stopped coughing, and then she started to walk towards me again, and then she started cough. She said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "I can't even come anywhere near you." And I went, "Why?" She said, "Well, I start coughing." I said, "Why?" Because I didn't know. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't understand what the hell was there. Anyway, she said, "It's you. It's your energy, and your guides are keeping me away from you." And I went, "Oh, thanks, guys." It's like I had no idea at the time what all that meant until I went and talked to somebody, and they said, "Oh, that woman," and they told me a few things. It's like, "Oh, right, gotcha." And then I met up with her a few years later. I went to go and I got invited to the spiritual church. I won't say which one it is. Anyway, she was there, and Spirit came through and wanted to give her a message. She goes, No, I don't want a message from you. No. It's like, "Oh, okay, well, whatever," So I just carried on. And I've never been invited back because she
Yeah.
was part of that group anyway. So,
Oh, yeah.
so I kind of felt at that time that perhaps she was coming to see me to find out what I was all about and what I was doing, and yet she couldn't get anywhere. She couldn't get close to me because she started coughing because the energy was too strong.
And it was whatever was on her.
And it was
Because,
whatever
although
was-
they're spiritual,
yeah.
there's still attachments on them too, you know?
Yeah. And they might not even be aware of what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's where we are. We need to be compassionate towards our spiritual peers because they may not know what's happening with them either. Yeah.
Just empathy, Just
Empathy, yeah. And another experience that I've had too, Nyla, and we're talking about entities and things, is energy imprints like makatu.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of, and I understand, because part of me is Māori, I understand what makatu is, and I also understand and respect tapu. So tapu being sacred. Makatu is like a spell. So if people are angry, they'll put a makatu on someone. Now, anyway, so another experience where a young woman had learned about me doing clearing. So she comes to me and she says to me, "Oh, look, I'm getting married, but I can't tell my fiance that we're never going to have children." And I said, "Why? Why can't you have children?" She said, "Oh, my grandfather absolutely hates my fiance. He didn't bless the relationship or the engagement or the marriage. So she said he put a makatu on me and he's made me barren and I'll never ever have children." I said, "Oh, really? Do you really believe that? Do you really?" She said, "Oh, Sharon, it's so true. My grandfather was such a strong man." And I said, "Oh, right, okay." So I said, "Do you want children or not?" She said, "Yes, I do." So I explained to her what a makatu was. I said, "Right, so let's sort this out," because Granddad had died since, you see.
Yeah.
So she thought she was powerless in doing anything about having children.
Yeah, put the fear in her,
Put the fear into
Yeah.
her. So of course she wasn't going to conceive a child. And the marriage would have failed because she wouldn't have been able to produce a child because, well, she was imprinted with this energy. So we did this clearing. Anyway, must have been about 8 months later. I was running a spiritual expo here in New Plymouth, and she comes running up to me. She's, "Sharon, look what you did to me." And I said, "I had nothing to do with that." But here she is.
Yeah.
Nearly, she said, "I've only got 4 weeks to go." And I went, "Wow." So she got pregnant pretty much straight away. How's that?
And it's,
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was getting it's your grandfather reincarnated.
Oh, right. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
well,
what I
there
was
you
just
go,
getting.
Granddad. See what you created? Yeah. So, yeah. Now, that to me, that is, I'm really, really appreciative and have enormous gratitude for what we were born into and what we've come back to do to help others. Yeah.
And what we chose to.
What we chose to do. Yeah. And I'm so grateful. And there have been, I have to admit, there have been some very scary moments.
Yeah.
Like seeing the black eyes in someone, and I actually got knocked in the chin.
It is. It's quite freaky, because you don't know what's, and then you think, or just even what we go through in our life path and thinking, God, what was I when I chose this? Who was I? Who was I?
What was I asking for when I came through the birth canal?
It was whoa.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. I remember doing a clearing actually out at Rahudu. There was a lady there that she had a young man living there, or she was helping him come off the drugs. And so she asked us to come out and help her. She said he was possessed. Oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like it. It was horrible. And he got me in the chin. He was going to get me. And Franz had to have him hooked around the neck and had to, because Franz, being as strong as he is, and this thing was spitting and it was hissing and oh my gosh,
horrible,
and that was horrible. Luckily we were all there together and we helped her. And I looked up and I crossed the beam. There's a beam like this and it had 6, 6, 6, but then the last 6 was scratched out and it looked like a 4. And he did that. Yeah. So, anyway, so this thing, whatever it was, left to him. because his eyes were black.
But isn't it sad? It's quite when you see someone that has got no control, how emotional it is, eh? Because, you know, a lot of that happens, and where they're not aware of it, and they end up like in Ward 17, or, you know, and, you know, they say a lot of ones that are in the psych units are actually very psychic. You know, but because they don't understand and haven't kind of met anyone that could tell them and explain to them what's actually going on when they hear voices, or you know, which is their guides talking to them, so they'll go to a doctor, and, you know, next minute they're on medication, and then next minute they're locked up because they're psych drugs, so then that just puts them all out of balance.
That's what happened with Kelvin Cruikshank, didn't it?
What was that?
Kelvin, he was diagnosed with what was it? It was ADHD, and he could hear voices, so they were borderline schizophrenia, so he wound up on Ritalin and other drugs to suppress him. Yeah. I remember reading about that in one of his books.
Yeah.
And so, but that too was, now that could have been quite a different story had he not persevered with getting off the drugs, the medication, and listening to what Spirit was saying to him. He wouldn't be where he is today. So, and I've heard that many times through different mediums that I've met from around the world who have experienced such phenomena. Being diagnosed with something when they don't have it at all. Like I was diagnosed with epilepsy as a child, but I didn't have epilepsy. I had the ability to escape my body, and I would wind up in a catatonic state. And so I wound up on phenobarbital, which is a barbiturate. And so I've got no memory from the age of 7 to 12, none whatsoever, apart from 3 weeks when my baby sister was born, and the lady that was looking after us didn't give me the pills. So that I remember the Wahine going down, and I remember my sister being born, and and then Mum coming home, and she, and Spirit telling me then that something was wrong with my mum, and I could smell this metallic smell in the house. Walked into the room, and Mum was white, and I pulled the blankets back, and the whole bed was covered in blood. Mum was dying. She'd had a massive hemorrhage. So because I couldn't work out why Mum hadn't got us up from for school. And all the other kids were still in bed. The baby was still asleep. And so ran across the road, because I didn't know how to use a telephone back then. I mean, I was only 10 years old. Ran across the road and told Mrs. Walker what was happening, because I still wasn't on the pills at that stage. And so, and I just remember, so my mum wound up in hospital overnight. And so, and then Mum came home with postnatal depression, so I started raising my little sister for the first few months of her life.
It's amazing I recognised it back then though, you know, because they just put a lot of them on Valium.
Yes, right, Valium.
They were all on, Valium.
That was the antidepressant back in the day.
Instead of like diagnosing as postnatal, it was depressants. They put them on Valium. The new mother disease, that was her last child. So, but she'd never experienced anything like that before. So it's interesting. But so I would imagine most of our listeners would have a story of their own to share and could relate. Relate
to what we've just spoken about.
Definitely. And just thinking, that time. That's it.
So now that we're in a changing world, and we're seeing lots of shifts in people. We're seeing a lot of people awakening. We're seeing people still panicked, still anxious, still in fear, perhaps in fear of their future, still working too hard. So what's the likelihood of people being able to manage being targeted by spirits, by or being dominated by them. What can we suggest that they do to help themselves?
Probably talk about it would be the,
Yeah.
I mean, people are becoming more open, but it would be to talk about it instead of just keeping it inside, because that's, once they talk about it, then it's like, it's amazing who they will open up to, because then that person can relate, because you might meet someone in the supermarket, a total stranger, and talk about something, and you were supposed to meet up with that person where they could just give you a word or two, and that can kind of resonate with you in something that you're going through.
It's interesting.
And spirit puts us in the right place at the right time,
Right.
I reckon, a lot of the times. But it's just talking about it and just being open, and not kind of fearing being ridiculed or anything about it, is what you're going through. Just talk about it, because we're all going through, I kind of feel that we've all gone through similar things, but at different times of our lives, and it depends how each individual experiences that, and what they're going through at the time is how they deal with that situation.
Right.
Yeah.
And oftentimes there's no shame in reaching out for help.
No, that's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
just doing that, It's just...
And sometimes, on different occasions, not very often I do it, but on odd occasion, I've walked up to someone and I'd say, look, are you open to receiving a message? It's like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Or are you open to receiving some information about what's going on around you right now? Oh, yeah, okay. And it was interesting because something similar like that happened on Tuesday at Pack and Save. We accidentally ran into a lady, or her trolley, and she had her head down and she was like, look, checking her phone and checking the prices of something, and then we just accidentally run into her trolley. And it's like, Francis, sorry, I haven't got, I'm not concentrating.
There's no horns on these.
No, oh, that's right. He did say something smart. I can't remember.
They need horns.
Yeah, or a little bell. Ting, 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 ting. Yeah, So then we get to the next, and now this happened 4 times. 4 times it happened in the supermarket. Not banged into her, but we came across her. Very rarely does that happen. And Fran says, oh, hello again. And she goes, oh, hello. And then head back down again. And then the 3rd time, Fran said something smart to her.
Are you stalking me?
Yeah. Anyway, he said something like, we've got to stop meeting like this. He said, my wife might have things to say or something like that. And she cracked up laughing, something in that lines. And she cracked up laughing. What a beautiful laugh she had. Come the 4th time, I had to run back into Fran's. Oh, there was someone there that I just run into to say hello. Oh, yes, I ran into someone. And I was talking to Joe. Anyway, Franz had taken off, and I went to turn around, and here's this young lady there. She's just standing there, and I went, we do have to stop meeting like this, And she and I, what? I felt the impulse to say, can I give you a hug? And there were so many people around that I didn't do it, Nyla.
But why?
I don't know. I guess a part of me was, maybe I was afraid that she would reject the hug. But anyway, I went down and I said, France had just finished packing the van, and I said, look, I ran into that young lady again. And he said, oh, Sharon, he said, her heart is breaking. Yeah.
Yes, see, so what you picked up is what she needed, and it was just...
She needed a hug.
And it was just...
I will never do that again.
No,
I'll never doubt that. Yeah. And I think I see her face clearly when I talk about her.
But even too, like, could always wait until she got out in the car park.
Yeah.
And then just go over and see her. There are ways of...
Well, she was going outside. We were going down into
Oh, yeah? Oh, you park underneath.
We park underneath, yeah. So, and she was going out into the main car park, and I was talking to her, and I just turned around and I finished talking to my friend, and and I just felt the impulse to hug her. But with what you taught us today, I'm going to keep practicing that.
Do it, because it does. It feels more, it feels comfortable. It feels...
Indeed, indeed. All right, so anything else to share about entities and... Because everyone carries imprints, or most
but
places.
what, I mean, the thing is, it's just like cleanse it, do clearings on your house, cleanse it. You can all, do it. Just saging, but like I said, the green sage from the supermarket is just as potent. And just do it regular, and even just around yourself, just.
So that's a great tip, because if you don't have those little black charcoals, and if you don't have something...
Oh, they're quite lethal.
Oh, are they?
I'm trying to burn the black charcoals where you put stuff on the...
put stuff on the top.
Because you've got to burn them, and they go all the spark... The
sparkies,
and then put them... And then because they burn for 45 minutes, so you've got to constantly feed... So, like, with the sage, like the sumac sage or your sage stick, just burn that, but make sure you've got a pan under it, because like I'll open all the cupboards, wardrobe drawers as well, and then while I'm walking around I'm blowing in, so it's just puffing up smoke and hold up high, because that's where they are,
And it was interesting with having a cast iron fry pan and just heating that on the stovetop and burning your... I've never
just
heard
until
that.
It goes black. Yeah.
And I've never heard that before.
I'm after a little one, like one of the little camping,
the little wrought iron ones.
Okay,
because you can get them. I think
So if anyone sees one out there,
a little one.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. No. Right. That's a good point, because I do have those charcoal ones, and I've got a little receptacle with a bit of sand in it, so that when it's lit, it's sitting in the sand.
Yeah, that's what
I can carry that around. Yeah, but yeah, and and I learned the other day too that, and it was something a guy on some health guy was saying that you can drink the sage tea, the green sage out of your garden, and it helps you meditate better and give you better clarity.
Oh, it would do. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Or your green sage or your white sage.
Yeah.
Or any herbs in your garden. You can,
So you can make, and I also learned that, so people, wanting to do smudging and you haven't got any white sage, you can do it with rosemary, and put oregano,
lavender
is another one. Tie them all together, and you've made your own smudging stick.
But even like the cheaper, and it does exactly the same, because we were all kind of said that it was white sage that you had to use and stuff, but just experiencing what I did using the green sage, 99 cents a box, so you just need one of those, so you're doing it for 7 days, so $7 for a, compared to, you're paying about $15 for a sage stick, and then that way if you just put it in your fry pan and
just
take it through, and that's a clearing on your house.
And why the 7 days? I
don't know. I've always kind of... Well, I did it for 3 days.
Yeah.
And that cleared... Well, that shoved him out of the house, and that cleared it. But I don't know. I suppose it's like I do it 7 just to be determined to get it.
Okay. So just to be sure. Yeah. And brand new homes, I've heard that brand new homes also, you have a house built, is to also have that cleansed at the same time, because
you've got the builders as well.
Yeah.
You've got the ones that are working on the house, so you've got all that energy in there, and there'd be a lot of cussing.
Of course, because they've banged the thumb and they're going,
and then talk about, probably dropping a lot of their garbage, because they're probably talking about a lot of stuff as well, what they did in the weekend and stuff, so that energy is all...
me and the missus had a scrap this morning.
All built up and stuff,
okay.
So and then plus you've got the land that it's going on.
That was interesting about land, because I'm learning more and more about the ley lines and the grids in the land. And I remember years ago we got invited, we've done a lot of clearings, there was a child buried in a backyard. Oh, it's way back in the days before
they had cemeteries,
anything, hundreds of years, when there was a lot of mouldy tribes, or they had their not forts, their communities Yeah, back in that day. And that was way over.
Well, there would have been a lot of miscarriages as well.
Miscarriages, and I just got the feeling because there was a lot of blood around this child.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was in the ground, and it was just like we kept on walking around it, and there was a lot of stuff going on inside the house, and we cleared the entity in the house. But someone had gotten stabbed. I had a meditation, and I had the sensation that someone was going like this to me. That was on a Thursday night, and on the Friday we got the phone call, and that's where it happened. On the Saturday we went to the house, and it was a father who got his daughter, and he started to stab her because, and that's and then that baby, she either had miscarried, no one was sure about what the outcome was, but it was years and years old. But I kind of felt that the child had given it had surrendered itself from the mother's body while she was being hurt. And it was buried in the backyard, and it was buried by a male, so it would have been the father, or the girl's father.
Yeah.
Not the baby's father, but the girl. Yeah. So, and there was just so much blood around it, and I just remember just dancing, not dancing around the grave, but just walking around the grave, doing a karakia. And and I'm learning more about what blood is laying in the ground through going onto maraes and talking about spirit and how much blood has been spilled over the years, and much of it still is being cleared.
And because it's even good when you get a house and what's actually been on that land prior to it, like you said, because a lot of places like in Hara had to clear, and they were actually on old Maori burial sites. And so they started affecting the people that lived in the homes and stuff. So, but the children were seeing it. They were the ones that were experiencing it. So, I had to go in it. But I find it easier to just go and visit with the people and have a cup of coffee and tell them not to mention nothing about it, just so I can see the outlay.
Yes.
And then I will go and do it from my house that night when all the ones that live in the house are home and probably in bed. And then I'll just mentally walk through the house and do it.
Okay.
So that's why I find it easier, so you're not disturbing or nothing's coming on you.
Yeah.
And it depends how aggressive it can be. So I just found it was easier. Some others have been in some of the places, especially like on the Manapā Road. Where there was a lot of bloodshed. It was quite, some of the stuff there was quite nasty, quite horrible clearings. But we got them, but, I had to have 2 or 3 goes because obviously people that fed, so the things were stronger and they were even harder to clear out. And that's why I find it easy just to get them when they're unaware of what's actually happening.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I remember we got called to a house a few weeks ago in Hawara. A little girl was telling a spirit child to go away, leave my toys alone, go away. Because the lady, or actually a friend of hers, had sent the video to us. So the mother had taken a video of the little girl screaming out to this spirit child, get away, leave my toys alone, they're mine. So we ended up getting a phone call to go visit this house, and sure enough, this little girl, cute wee thing, telling us about this little kid that was playing with her toys, and so we were able to sort that out too. And it was all, this little child had no love and had never had a toy.
And lived there beforehand.
And had lived in the vicinity, But it was quite an old child too. But obviously the little girl, she was only all 4, had attracted their energy to her because
similar age at the time.
Yeah, because children are just so open, and so strong in their energy. So so this little boy was attracted to her and her toys.
Yeah.
And all he wanted was the toys.
Yeah.
But I ended up giving him a hug and telling him he's okay and that there is plenty of toys waiting for him on the other side. So off he hops. never heard any. I did ring the lady to see how it was going, and she said, "Oh, I'm at work at the moment, I'll give you a call back." But I never heard back from her, so obviously everything was okay.
Yeah.
Because often we don't hear back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we don't need to, eh?
No,
Just, yeah.
no. But sometimes, getting when it's children, and we don't charge for children. When we go into do a house clearing, we don't charge for children. But we may, but we got a koha for fuel anyway. So
yeah,
and that's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of work to be done out there, eh?
Yeah, well, it's ongoing, eh? It's like, work on ourselves, it's ongoing. It's Yeah.
And with everything changing the way it is, as people become, those who are becoming aware can help themselves, but those who are unaware, who are in fear of their futures, they're the ones that are needing more help than anyone else.
Yeah. But then they could be there to teach us empathy and unconditional love, and how there was like that big divide that was kind of created, and a lot of it, like I said to people, we chose not to, they chose to, even before they came through. So there's a learning for both of us too, but unfortunately they didn't happen for us to learn the compassion towards the 2020 I'm talking about, compassion towards them because they had it, and then for them the same way, but it wasn't. It was really divided. And
you're talking about the COVID time.
Yeah. So
right.
and it's like anything, ones that still live in fear, I think, because it's a learning for us to understand, have a bit more empathy and thing with them as well, still help them, and hopefully they'll speak out. And I mean, those energies are shifting into all that now anyway, to move all that energy.
Yeah, because you do a lot of some of the healings that you do is to do with the COVID injections, isn't it? The injection
I can
sites,
do vaccine clearings.
The clearings, okay, yeah. Wow, it's great work. I really do love this work. It just kind of gives me, I don't know, a purpose.
Well, it's not really work that way. It's kind of it's who we are, who we all are.
Yeah.
And I mean, whether people are just beginning, I suppose that's kind of where they just think they're beginning, where I kind of say to them, well, it's not. You've obviously been doing it all your life and not aware of it. And you might think someone that stands up there and can do this and does this, and then people think, God, I wish I could do that, but that's not their path, So it's we're all spiritual beings, eh? So it's whether they decide to do that or just walk their path, and they're doing it while they're walking, just with other people, and having that empathy and compassion and unconditional love, what they're putting out there.
And it took me a long time to learn and understand what compassion was all about. Not until it was, sort of like half or sort of midlife that I've come to understand what compassion was really all about. Yeah, and then to be able to apply that.
Yeah, but I suppose it's hard, because like what we've gone through and experienced, it's probably hard to have that, because we carry that anger, that anger that's there that we've got to kind of get released, and for that to go is to bring in the other, to bring through what the compassion and unconditional love, and probably understanding that we actually chose all that.
Yes,
that used to be the hardest thing. God, what was I before I came through to choose what I've been through?
Yeah,
and
indeed.
That's what it is. And it's just, I think when you kind of understand that, you kind of can dissolve what you've been through a bit more. Instead of like taking it all personally, we'll take it all that. That we've done something wrong, but it's not. It's the inflictor, the other person. That's but then they volunteered to do that.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff that was imposed upon us as children, I guess, and that was all part of our learning and their
starting
learning
to wobble.
You're starting to get a hard bum.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, Nyla. Well, look, thank you so much for joining me again.
Oh, that's
talking
okay.
about this topic. It's been great, and I'm sure that those who are listening to this will then think, "Oh, a light bulb moment."
Yeah,
and we'll understand what we're conveying here. Yeah, so, anything else you want to impart?
I was just thinking when you're saying that, like a person walking up the street yelling out something and talking to themselves. It's an entity. It's obviously something that's on them that instead of thinking, "Oh, what are they doing?" Crazy, but
yeah, and we quite often see that, people having a chat to themselves and then sort of going right off, but it's and again, it's seeing the empathy of that person, because that person's the spark of us, and they're talking to someone.
Yeah,
they're just speaking out loud.
Just send love to them, eh?
Exactly. Yeah. Compassion and love.
Yeah. The same like things on Facebook and stuff, when people put stuff up that's kind of negative, always just send it love.
Yeah. And seeing it,
blocks that out, eh?
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, thank you so much, Nyla.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been such a pleasure today. Yeah, to be able to talk about this.
Thank you for a beautiful lunch.
Oh, you're welcome. I enjoyed
nice.
putting it together, and for you to meet the beautiful Sue. Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah. All right. Okay, folks. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this topic, and whatever you're doing, wherever you are, do it well, and have a great day. So bye for now.